And now on Radio 4, it's time for You and Yours with Peter White.
Now, the advertising industry has traditionally been seen as a barometer for the health of the economy. When companies are feeling positive, up go the marketing budgets. No surprise, then, that a report published this week forecasts spending on advertising will fall by nearly 10% this year. Advertisers are under pressure, more than ever, to demonstrate to their clients that they offer good value for money. It's why new systems that allow them to target individuals' tailor-made messages are so attractive. But they're controversial. As we heard on Wednesday, the EC has asked Britain to look again at its privacy laws over concerns about one particular system developed by the British company Form. That tracks the websites you visit and it uses the information to determine what adverts you see. Well, Philip Smith is from Brand Republic, the advertising news website, and we're looking at the overall effect of all this on advertising. Philip, Google. Quarterly profits published yesterday confirm that the shift from traditional advertising mediums to digital, number of clicks that adverts on their site receive have grown by 17%. Presumably, television and magazines are suffering as a result of that.
Yes, the so-called traditional media is finding it tough at the moment, but of course the traditional media owners, whether they're used to publishing magazines or television or broadcasters and so on, are going online. So they are starting to see some of that benefit from being online as well. So
does that mean they're abandoning other forms, or at least scaling back in a big way?
In some cases, yes, but actually I think that the truer picture is more complex, and I think most of the successful media owners at the moment are looking at hybrids, how they combine their brands, whether it's a newspaper brand across online and print, or whether it's a magazine brand where you do the same thing, or even, as the BBC well knows, with television and radio.
But are they doing it cheaper, however they do it?
I think there's always going to be costs, isn't there? Because, of course, technology and keeping technology up to date is a cost, as much as producing tons of newsprint.
OK, well, I've got some real-life ad men with me. Greg Clark founded Uber, which is based in Sheffield. They make adverts for the likes of DFS, the furniture chain. And also with us is George Everett from VCCP. His clients include Diet Coke and O2. Greg, first of all, I mean, how is your agency faring?
Very well, surprisingly.
You would say that, wouldn't you?
Of course I would. No, it is. I think our clients have got it right, and there's such a diverse mix, and they, thankfully for them and us, haven't been affected that much by the current climate.
Well, you've got a house builder, though. I see.
Well, we did. We had a house builder.
Yes.
They're gone, and that's the only one, touch wood, that's been affected, and obviously that affected them quite seriously. But the rest of them have got their head screwed on, know what they're doing, and seem to be doing it well.
So are your smaller companies cutting back?
Not really. I think the smaller companies, they don't do TV, they still do print, they're not advertising in the main media, so they don't have that big expenditure that the likes of DFS do.
And yet the figures tend to suggest that, print is suffering most of all, local newspapers in particular.
Yeah, well, I think, like Peter said, things are going online a lot more with that, because you can put exactly the same thing online as you can in print, and they can view it in exactly the same way.
So that is what
TV adverts and everything else are different because you're not in the same place. The TV ads do go online, but you have to find them.
Right. George Everett, your agency is based in London, so yes. What's the position there? Any job losses, for instance?
We haven't lost anybody recently, but I must say, if you read the industry magazine campaign, there's definitely a constant threat. So I think, although we avoid it personally, and the agency's success depends on how that particular agency happens to be doing at any particular time, it's certainly a currency in the market at the moment that people are losing their jobs, yes.
And are clients asking you to do things cheaper? Saying, it's the classic thing, isn't it? I want the same...
They can always ask that, yeah. but I think contrary to popular opinion, there isn't actually that much money to be made. The margins are already very tight. And so to do things cheaper is a big ask. And I think also people recognise the value of a powerful idea or a great piece of advertising. If you do great ads, if you do great work, then people's businesses tend to show an uplift. And so that's what we promise them. We promise effective advertising that will create a sort of great impact on people's business.
Right. I tell you what, well, let's look at some real cases. We can look at some of your adverts to see what they say, perhaps, about current trends and what steps people are having to take or choosing to take. We'll start with one of yours, Greg. This was one of your newest clients, Netto, the budget supermarket chain. And just to describe what the pictures show when you hear this, it's nothing but a pile of brand name groceries against a simple yellow background with price tickets appearing from them.
This is our Christmas advert. Not very good, is it? No celebs, no music by one of the reformed boy bands. Not even a celebrity chef dressed as Santa. Come to think of it, not even anyone dressed as Santa. Ah, well, maybe next year we'll put our prices up and then we'll be able to afford all that. I can't see it, can you? Netto. Big brands, tiny prices.
OK, so that's picking the moment. It's very different from what the other discount supermarket chains are doing, isn't it? Aldi, for instance, they used a celebrity chef for their far glossier TV spot. A different message to yours?
Yeah, I think we wanted to stand out against all of that, really, because everybody, particularly with that one at Christmas, is going on with all of that. And they're all like, which celebrity can we get and which one's already been bought? And we just wanted to do something that was completely different and was like the antidote to all of that so that we would stand out very simply.
It's postmodern advertising, really, isn't it? And you're really trying to push this envelope, aren't you? I gather in the pitch you made to Netto, you even had one ad that was just a photo of a potato.
Yes.
With a voiceover saying, no doubt about it, Sainsbury's ads are better than ours.
It basically said, yeah, there's no doubt about it, Sainsbury's TV ads are better than ours, but our spuds are cheaper, so there.
They didn't go for that, though.
Well, that's the thing because of the Clearcast thing. And there is a big battle, obviously, with prices with supermarkets. Everybody wants to undercut everybody else. And if you say one day that our spuds are cheaper than theirs are, they'll just immediately cut their spud price. and so the ad's no longer relevant. So you've got to be very careful in the game and be sort of very respectful.
You need a celebrity potato,
brands.
don't you?
You do, really, yeah. And presumably, Philip, discount supermarkets are the clients to have at the moment.
Well, I think certainly any ad agency would like to have that at the moment, but I think that there's always the case with clients that you want someone who's going to be brave, want to stick to their guns in this type of market because they will see the benefits, and you certainly want to see someone who's going to innovate, and I think that's going to be one of the ads that we'll hear about next. But It is absolutely innovation you want from your clients, and you want them to back that innovation.
And the question is, how do you prove to the client that it's money well spent? I mean, there is a before and after to this question, isn't there?
Well, it's very difficult. The answer to that question is you never know. You never quite know how an ad's going to come out, particularly if it's something like a Meerkat advertising car insurance. You never know what the answer to that question is going to be. And a lot of it is about gut feel, but there are sort of benchmarks and measures which you can apply. But when it comes to something as brave or as different as a Meerkat, everyone's slightly in uncharted territory. But we had a client who was very brave and hence was great rewards.
No, right. And Greg, I mean, you both took risks. I mean, did you put this out on do you actually set out the figures for someone, or as George says, do you just have to take a punt, basically?
Absolutely not. We pitched the ideas to the client, and in a room of 20, which we pitched it to, they all burst out laughing when
it's a good start.
They've got to go with their gut, and if they like it, then the consumers will like it. And it is a big risk in some ways when you're spending a great deal of money on the media. And
I've been a little bit unfair because there was research. We do qualitative research groups and everything. You put it in front of consumers, and if they laugh, then you tend to run it.
Philip Smith, what does this say overall about the situation that we're in? Because there've always been funny adverts, haven't there? I mean, you can go right back to the Guinness adverts of the 60s. That's not new. What is new about this?
What is new is, of course, that for instance, in the Meerkat example, is a celebrity wasn't used, but what that's done really interestingly is it's turned the Meerkat into a celebrity. So it's through Twitter that you can interact with Alexander the Meerkat, and I think that's the really interesting thing.
And we're using things like Twitter and Facebook, and so do you think that will be a trend that other people will use?
Oh yes, and it's already happening, and I think the really interesting thing there is using Twitter in itself isn't such a big cost. You know, from that point of view, it's free to use. The challenge there is to make sure you've got the right tone of voice and that whatever's going out as tweets on Twitter is actually benefiting the brand, fitting in with the brand and fitting in with the rest of the integrated campaign. But you will see more of that, and the question really is how do people differentiate themselves and make that really work for their brands and their business?
We're going to have to leave it there. Philip Smith, Greg Clark, George Everett, many thanks.